The training hall of the Coalition Academy was a place of iron discipline and absolute order. Alien instructors, drawn from the most hardened military castes of the galaxy, enforced rules with a precision that bordered on religious fervor. This cycle, a new experiment was underway. Human cadets. Their biology was a puzzle, their psychological reactions a mystery. Their limits were uncharted territory, and most concerningly, their tempers were notoriously unpredictable. Instructor Bekran, a hulking figure from the Toruan military caste, strode into the hall. His presence alone was enough to drain the air from the room. His voice, a low rumble that vibrated through the floor plates, demanded silence. He demanded absolute obedience. The ranks of alien recruits snapped to attention, their bodies rigid, their gazes locked forward. They knew what was expected. But one figure stood out. The human cadet. She remained relaxed, her posture neutral, her breathing slow and steady. Her eyes were fixed on the far wall, but they held no tension, no fear. She was present, yet seemingly unbothered by the oppressive atmosphere. Bekran's eyes narrowed. He marched down the line, his heavy boots echoing with purpose, stopping directly in front of her. To a Toruan, this relaxed stance was not just a breach of protocol. It was a blatant display of disrespect. It was an invitation for correction. Without a word, Bekran's open hand swung through the air, striking the human cadet across the face. The crack of the impact was sharp and loud, a sound so out of place it seemed to tear a hole in the fabric of the hull. Every alien recruit froze, their multifaceted eyes wide with shock. Toruan training rules technically allowed for correction strikes, a swift physical reminder of one's place, but they had never, ever been used on a human. The potential consequences were unknown. The cadet's head turned with the force of the blow, but that was it. Her feet didn't move. Her balance didn't break. Her expression, which had been neutral before, remained utterly unchanged. She slowly, deliberately, turned her head back to face the instructor, her gaze locking with his. The silence in the hole, already profound, tightened into something suffocating, like a cable being drawn to its breaking point. Bekran took an involuntary step back. He had expected anger. He had expected fear, maybe tears. He had expected some kind of reaction, any reaction. What he got was nothing. A void, an absolute absence of emotion that unsettled him far more than any open defiance or resistance could have. He had struck a creature from a death world, and it hadn't even flinched. Then the human cadet spoke. Her voice was calm, level, holding no heat or resentment. It was the voice of someone delivering a status report. "I've endured worse in basic survival courses on Earth," she stated simply. That strike did not register as a threat. She paused, letting the words hang in the air. "I recognize the gesture as a disciplinary act, Instructor." She held his gaze, her own eyes like chips of ice. "However," she continued, her tone shifting just slightly, becoming a quiet warning, "I must inform you that escalating this level of physical force will trigger an automatic and involuntary defensive response. Such a response, once activated, cannot be controlled. It cannot be recalled, and it will not be reversible." A wave of whispers rippled through the ranks of the alien recruits. They understood the implication better than Bekran did in that moment. They had read the files, the classified reports on humanity. They knew about the death world that had forged them. They knew that for humans, under extreme duress, the line between stress and aggression could vanish in an instant. Aggression became action, and that action came with a speed that bypassed all higher reasoning. No one, not even a hardened Toruan warrior, wanted to witness a human pushed into that state. Bekran stood frozen, reevaluating everything he thought he knew. The situation had spun completely out of his control, not through violence, but through a chilling lack of it. "Cadet," he finally managed, his voice tight. "Dismissed. Report to the medical bay for observation." "Negative, Instructor," she replied, her voice firm. I'm stable." The force used posed no risk of injury. Without waiting for another command, she turned her body back to the front, resumed her original relaxed but ready stance, and fixed her eyes on the far wall as if nothing had happened. The drill resumed, But the energy in the hall had been fundamentally altered. The alien recruits moved with a visible, nervous discomfort. They instinctively gave the human cadet a wider berth, avoiding any sudden movements in her vicinity. When Vecron barked corrections, they snapped to attention faster than ever before. No one wanted to give the instructor a reason to raise his hand again. Not because they feared him. They feared what she would do if he crossed that line a second time. Later that cycle, the Academy's Command Council convened an emergency session to review the incident log. The data was analyzed, the recordings scrutinized from every angle. Their conclusion was unanimous and swift. Human cadets required an entirely new instructional protocol. All direct physical strikes were immediately prohibited. Stress induction would now be conducted exclusively through controlled simulations where the variables could be contained. The official designation was updated. Humans were now classified as high-sensitivity combatants, not because of any fragility, but because of the terrifyingly unpredictable efficiency of their survival instinct. The human cadet received no punishment. In fact, her training records showed a marked acceleration in performance following the incident. Her composure remained absolute, a source of constant awe and low-key terror among her peers. Instructor Vecron filed his final report on the matter. It was short and to the point. Humans do not respond to physical stimuli like other known species, he wrote. They appear to process pain as simple information, not as a tool for establishing dominance, instilling fear, or reinforcing hierarchy. He ended the report with a single, chilling line that would be quoted in military academies across the galaxy for decades to come. Humans do not escalate un tiltedo, and when they do, nothing we have trained in this academy can endure that shift.